You too can get beautiful, cinematic gimbal shots just like this. I'm out on the streets of Denver teaching my students who have no gimbal experience and only 10 hours of basic camera training to get shots like this, starting with leading and following. Now this seems simple, but there's a few tricks in making it better. First, we always want to face the sun to backlight our subject. If not, our talent will be blinded, overexposed, and will cast a shadow on them. Swap it around and the image is more flattering and cinematic. If you're shooting on the streets, always be careful where you walk and don't block or run into people. And when you walk, there's 3 important things. 1, ninja walk it. Don't walk like a normal person or you'll get too much bounce. You sort of need to ninja creep and roll your foot. I don't really know how else to explain it. Walk unnaturally weird like I'm doing here to help take out the natural bounce in your steps. And 2, to mitigate that bounce even more, tilt the gimbal forward slightly. Here's one of my students trying it with fully vertical position, very bouncy footage, and here's my student tilting it forward without even ninja stepping, and it's much better. And 3, you want to pace your steps to your subject. If you're following them, count out the rhythm. If you're leading them, it's their job to pace to you. This takes a little practice. Okay, speaking of leading them, don't walk backwards. That is dangerous and also very bouncy because we don't naturally walk that way. So what I do is I turn sideways and I walk forward. This is much safer and you can walk at a natural pace alongside your subject. This even works for running. Here I'm jogging at a normal pace. This is the footage unstabilized. And then this is it stabilized through Sony's Catalyst. You know, I thought this footage was going to turn out pretty bad, but it's actually not too terrible. Here's another tip to make your shots more interesting. Don't shoot everything at eye level. That's what we see every single day, and it's not always very interesting. I notice when I start my students on tripod, they tend to always shoot at eye level, so what I try and teach is to move around, get it from the side, get lower to the ground, point up, low angle, high angle. So to do this on the gimbal, I'm going to invert it downwards, and then I'm going to angle up slightly to capture the sense of scale of the bridge geometry and the skyscrapers above. This is far more interesting looking up than just looking out across the cityscape. So here's the shot at eye level, and then at low angle. It looks very dynamic. Always explore and try and get different shots. Crawl around on the ground, get up in a tree, go see things from a different perspective. On to trucking. This process is similar in leading in that the sunlight and the ninja stepping are identical. But when trucking, you really want something in the foreground or next to your subject to add dimension and speed. Vertical obstacles or textures do a really good job at this because it makes the shot look fast. Orbiting shots. This is one of my favorite shots, but if you don't do it right, you're just going to make your audience dizzy. The key to circling a subject and keeping it interesting are 2 parts. First, have your actor turn inward into the direction that you were circling them. This means that they come around faster back into frame. And always choose a beginning, middle, and end location to enter and exit with your shot. Okay, but we can make this even better by combining a couple of these tips. So instead of her looking around in awe and just ending the shot, let's pick a beginning and middle and end. So she's going to come out of the elevator and I'm going to have some foreground and then I'll intercept her again on the other side as she turns and then I'll follow her along the railing. Now we're going to add movement by leveraging distance and height by attaching a monopod. Be sure to buy one that supports this weight. Do not use a cheap one or your monopod will snap in half and break your camera. Most of the time these monopods are about $300, but I got mine for about $80 on Black Friday, so this is a great deal. It supports up to 25 pounds and it has this handy quick release, which is really great when you're carrying a gimbal this heavy. You don't have to worry about trying to screw in a plate or anything like that. I call this mode Dragonlance mode. Any nerds out there? No? Okay, never mind. But you have to admit this looks pretty cool. Adding a monopod gives you so many great options. The trick to using this combo is to have intention. Why do you need the camera up high? Usually it's to reveal something that you can't see at eye level, so I like to use it for vista or bird eye shots. For this one, I'm going to follow my subject Hannah to the railing and then look out across the cityscape at sunset. This looks good, but I think it's still a bit static because we just sort of look out. So this could be a good ending shot, but it's not a very good mid-scene story shot. I think I can have her look at something more interesting. So instead of having her walk down the bridge, I'm gonna have her walk sideways across it. I'm gonna try and catch this train as it comes and leaves, and that gives my audiences something to look at. Now we just wait for the train. Okay, maybe now's the time to give another tip, which is if you're going to go full Dragon Lance mode, then plan on working out and throwing in a couple of pull-ups once in a while, because you're gonna have to have that shoulder strength. Okay, the train is going, here we go. I'm gonna follow Hannah this direction to attempt the shot. And I don't know if that looks good because of the shadows, so I'm immediately following her to the other side to catch the train. Now, with or without the monopod, I can get a low to high shot. For this one, it's really simple. I'm gonna start low by inverting the gimbal. I'm gonna catch her feet, and then I'm gonna rise up to her shoulders as she dances. Now we do want a beginning, middle, and end. In this case, she dropped her phone, so that's part of the story, is going down to follow her hand as she picks up the phone and then rising up as she lifts it. For this one, you might want to lock manual focus. It just depends on what camera you have. I have the A7S III, which is incredible on autofocus, so I haven't had to worry about doing manual focus for any of these. Okay, that looks pretty good. And my students are a bunch of goofballs. They are very fun to work with. And I hope they're having fun with this workshop because they did a great job. Now get that Dragoon Lance and go out and shoot something. And if you see me running around downtown Denver with this getup, come say hi.